Social Commerce in Action. I'm your host, Daryl. As you arrive, please introduce yourself in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And if you have questions throughout, we'd love to answer that as part of the show as well. So the goal of the show is that over the past few years, I've seen a significant evolution in the industry, from a real big focus on shift towards social commerce strategies, from implementing loyalty rewards, referral rewards, new programs to bring people into the business. The industry is changing rapidly. So the goal of the show is to bring together thought leaders, people who've been in the industry, people who've done this, both in our space and other adjacent verticals, to talk about topics that they found that have worked over the years and really get some lessons of what's changing now and what's really working now. Today, I'm super excited to bring on our next guest. She's run a successful business now for 23 years. She has seen a massive evolution. 23 years, there's been significant changes, and she's been able to successfully lead her business through that transition and bring her field along. She's also a member of, or on the board of, the Direct Selling Association. And again, I've gotten to know her over the last couple of years and really, really respect her opinion and really where she sees the field and where she sees the industry going. Nancy, welcome to the show.
Hey, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me. It's a great day to come out and talk about our business. It's a great season in our industry. I appreciate it very much.
Oh, thank you. So where I really wanted to start was it's rare to have a company that's been around 23 years. And congratulations on that. I know it was last month that I think you had that anniversary?
Right, so 23 on February 8th.
That's awesome. So what I wanted to understand and kind of pick your brain around was, when we go back 23 years ago, I was, in the space at the time as well. And, we were launching replicated websites, and that was a new thing at the time. And then it became like, well, we have to focus on customers and customer e-commerce. And then it turned into, social media and the changes over the years, right? So massive evolution. So you've seen the changes with technology. You've seen the changes with the field, with consumer behavior. But what I really want to understand from you is what hasn't changed? What are some of the kind of timeless fundamentals that you've just really stuck to over the years that you really credit that longevity, the growth, the stability to? What's your perspective? What hasn't changed?
When I started the company, I was 23 years younger, but I had 3 little kids, and I really wanted to do something that kept my priorities, and I really loved the relationships I built early on, and I wanted to do something that made an impact and made a difference. And when we chose direct sales, it checked all the boxes. There were the flexibility, the fun, the friendships, the way we delivered the products, the happiness. You see the customers. It didn't sit on a shelf. You actually got to see the reaction. Seeing a consultant back then who made a car payment now makes a car payment. The person is not the price tag. So what we started then, that's the fuel that gives me the energy that's brought through 23 years that, why do I still get up? Why do I still get excited every day? It's always been about the human factor that we have at Jordan Essentials that I totally underestimated in the beginning, that became such the driving factor for the longevity, is that human factor for sure.
Now, with the human factor, a big part of that is how you engage with the field then, and how you bring that field along with that evolution. So if you think about then, like, how did you shift that, right? So like, as you guys have had changed, all the changes throughout the years, how did you leverage that human factor with the field to bring them along? Like, what are best practices or tips you have around that? Because that's a huge part of being able to change over all these years.
Right. We were just this backyard, moms hanging out, selling products, our little comp plan, and we had ledgers. Makes me sound so old. As technology came on, people really felt this affront, or, cell phones or something was going to attack that personal piece of it, and then we just had this shift where I'm like, what if we embraced everything that came along and kept that core value? And then you would have this sense of building instead of pushing against what was coming. So I think one of the things we do in our culture now, one of our core values is about embracing and learning new things. And so, okay, so what is this? How can we embrace that? How can we add that to our culture instead of letting it change who we are and how we take our business forward? So as things would come along, instead of letting it cut us off like the pandemic, I'm like, all right, well, now we're on Zoom and now we're this. And so we would say adapt, adjust, and overcome. So how do we adapt and adjust and overcome in this situation without ever losing who we are? So I think that was a big pillar for us as through the years as things have changed.
Totally makes sense. And now, when you talk about the pandemic, I know that was another time that was very challenging for a lot of companies, and a lot of companies, shifting from in-person the events to then doing Zooms and trainings that way. What did you find with that? Was that a positive experience for you? Did you see that helped the business? Did it hurt? Like, what has been your experience with through the pandemic and then now coming out of it? What we're seeing?
Well, we're a hand washing business. It helped us a lot. So where we cocooned and, doing home parties, within about a 50-mile radius of somebody's backyard, taking our tote bag and doing hand spas and, sharing our products and our essential oil infused products and the benefits and all the great things that they could have, use, smell, feel, and try. All of a sudden we were forced into being really online and being more cutting edge and embracing technology, where we were a little like, I don't know about doing virtual parties. Well, now you're going to have to do them. Our business just exploded. We didn't have to shut down. We were considered an essential business because we did have hand sanitizer. We had soaps, we had lotions, shampoos. So we were able to provide a vital necessity. And we weren't out of anything because we were ready to go and we were able to provide for our consultants. So for us, it pushed us out the door. And so we started to see states that, we had maybe one or two consultants. We had a lot of consultants. So our recruiting went up and we had to scale up quickly. So our last 3 years have been the best of the 23 years as far as sales volume, sponsoring. It was a very much a tipping point for our company. And hence, why we wanted new software, why we wanted to embrace new technologies, why we wanted to serve those great people even better. So it was a very good thing for us.
That's awesome. And now, when you talk about then like that evolution then of like that growth over the last few years, what do you attribute that to? Like, are you seeing it as like, are there certain, was it that you were prepared beforehand? You had the right culture, the right systems, and that really was what propelled it? Was it a product? Right? Like, what do you I guess attribute that growth and that consistency over the last 3 years too?
I think part of it, I noticed like other companies or party plans. I do think it was part of our culture and our leadership, which was, hey, we're going to adapt, adjust, and overcome, and let's move forward together. We weren't in the shutdown mindset. We were in, okay, this is our facts today. This is how we siloed our workplaces. This is how we mask up. This is how we hand sanitize. This is how, if somebody has, gets COVID, this is how we're going to do that. We stay within government guidelines, but we kept the culture of, it is what it is. We're going to move forward. We were ready. And then when the wave hit, because, we'd been trying to grow for a long time, I think that the mindset was absolutely ready for it.
That's awesome. Now, when you think about party, then like that is one area that I've seen across all of our clients. Everybody's talking about party, post pandemic. Some companies talk about people aren't coming back together in person. Others, they've been able to pull that off. Like, how do you see party? Like, how has party changed for you since the pandemic? And then how do you see it kind of going forward? And where do you see it long term?
That human connection I had, where I have a bunch of consultants first meet around the bar in my kitchen, the breakfast bar, and eat nachos. I don't think that's gone away. People have so many ways to purchase now. So where's the value of gathering and of human connection? How do we continue to do that? I mean, I chose to be a party plan company because I love that idea that we were connecting, sharing, smelling, feeling, trying, doing all the products there. So we do that in a new way, virtually through edutainment. How do we make skincare simple? How do we help you learn about ingredients so that we add value? It's very crowded online now. So where I used to be in somebody's living room and I didn't have somebody running through telling them about 500 other things they can use, it helps you step up. So I think Party Plan has had to step up their game. We aren't just sitting in somebody's living room anymore. We're sitting in hundreds of living rooms all at the same time. And so our product line, how it demonstrates how we connect with people. Again, it goes back to your culture. What kind of, are you really here for a buck? It really shows quickly. Are you really here to help people? And how we help them and share our products. Then we have a host that we partner with, and then she helps us to find other people. He or she helps us to find other people. And then that's really what the model is. And they told friends, and then it's the ultimate referral business, right? And then you get rewarded for the referral. So it changed from, I have to clean my house and get people over here, and then we're going to have a great time and try the products, to Yes, that still happens, but my host is almost like a customer referral program that you can really get. I mean, right now I might get a referral, I might get a little coupon for something for an influencer or something, but you're a referral in a party plan program. I'm getting all my products. I'm getting my whole skincare line. I'm getting half price. I'm getting it for free because I shared your link. I mean, it's like the ultimate program. Come together, learn about how to have healthy living, healthy skincare. We want to make it simple for them to do that. Entertaining, fun, flexible. I mean, it's taken it to the next level of parties. And then, of course, they can do a pop-up shop and do a vendor party, where they're going out and sharing their products by having a pop-up and having a bunch of people coming by. So I think it's still keeping that idea that we connect, we have a good time, you learn something, your family, you're better for knowing products that smell good, feel good, and do good with Jordan Essentials.
That's awesome. And I think that's what the trend I'm also hearing a lot is the whole shift of like the host program is really like that's your referral program almost. And then it's like hearing more and more discussion around like companies like, do you get rid of the host program and go to just it's a referral rewards? And it's like you have the tiers where as you grow and as you accomplish more, it's kind of shifting that towards like a referral program. How do you, with that though, like that kind of shift would eliminate that concept of a party or an event, which, you have that benefit of it being time bound and you got to have your orders in by a certain time and that ties together. Do you see that most of the parties you have are like their events, their time bound, like that's really what people are looking at from at least your culture and your audience? Or do you see them kind of going more towards like it's just a referral program and they're putting in the party orders as a rewards? How do you see that? Do you see that shifting at all, or do you see it kind of stable? And how do you look at that?
I think it's a bit of both. Our consultants are sometimes our best hosts, and they're self-hosting and having a demonstration and bringing people together. It's almost like part of their compensation, where before it really wasn't. That was how they were expanding their business, or they're having the party and they're bringing people together. Or it's like it is the ultimate like incentive, right? Is, do you really want $75 in free products and all these half price products? And you're walking away with hundreds of dollars worth of free products, or do you want a customer refer? I think it's an or. I think you do one or the other. And for us to have people who are vested getting the big instead of everybody getting a little, because our prices are low, they're very fair. Our customers aren't like, "Ooh, I got to sign up so I can afford this stuff." We have a nice gap between who is a customer, who's a host, and who's a consultant, and what their roles are. So that's one of the things I love about our party plan company is I know who my customers are and I know who my consultants are.
Now you mentioned at the events, you do the virtual event and they're sharing content. And how do you look at that? Is that stuff that, you guys focus, at a corporate level, heavy content, you guys are producing the content, like assets that they're able to use? Do they produce some of the content themselves? Like, how do you look at that? And how do you how do you look at getting the assets ready for them to be able to do the valuetainment and have these different events?
Well, that's changed a lot, I think. We've definitely ramped up our offering for content because, you want it to be simple. That people out there have options, many more options than they have ever had before to add a little extra money to their household income. Am I going to go do Instacart, or am I going to do Jordan Essentials and sit around and make images all day? And are those images compliant? Are they, making claims that our products cure cancer? Well, we don't want that. We want our products to smell good, feel good, and do good, and keep me out of prison. So we want to be sure that they're very representative, but they also can, personalize those with guidelines. So we actually create so much more content than we ever have before. And it keeps them freed up to make money how they want to make money, spending their time really with that human connection. And then it allows us to create the content that we feel like is going to be good and healthy for them.
Totally makes sense. And then think about that from an evolution perspective. So if you go back 23 years ago, I think a lot of companies in the space, it was the consultants that would be the ones that would provide, the downstream support. They would provide the loyalty, the downstream, again, like customer retention was really on the consultants. Even the marketing, a lot of it was on the consultants. You mentioned the content's one element of creating, taking that more from a corporate perspective, but even beyond that, like, marketing directly to customers, customer loyalty, how do you look at that? How has that shifted? Do you see that where you still have consultants that are really big on, they do it themselves and they're really big on that? Or has that really gone away and it's really shifted to corporate driven and it's corporate's responsibility? How do you look at that?
I actually think of it more as a partnership. So we do email to customer on behalf of the consultant. The customer is underneath the consultant. And so on behalf of them, if they click on the links, it'll take them back to the replicated site. So part of their package that they get from us each month to get into their back office, but also includes this marketing package where it's professional, it has the right linking to it. Again, so I can follow up and do the humanness factor. And as the current special, I don't have to go look for all of that. We're again competing with, do I want to drive Uber? Do I want to do Jordan Essentials? We want to send it out there. The customer clicks on it, it orders, the order simplicity. And then I get a notification that I just got an order. So the marketing directly to the customer. And then we want it to be sticky so that if they go back there again, I'm ordering from them all the time. So they're like, oh, I'll put my customer in here. And if you'll send them an email, then they keep coming back. I'll get you the customer, Jordan Essentials, and then you guys do the email. Then I'll call and make sure that they love it. And then I'll share new things with them. And I'll do customer appreciation. A lot of our consultants do appreciation programs for their customers, their VIPs, or sends them a catalog or puts them into a VIP group and does drawings and fun things. And they do the party part. But we're talking about the fundamental pieces where we stay in front of them so that they don't have to do a whole news. I remember they used to own their own constant contact account and do all that stuff. And also I think that it's better and it's healthier as a member of the board of the DSA that the customer is clearly identified underneath the consultant. And we know who our consultants and our customers are. And they have a healthy, robust customer base. And they're purchasing products on a regular basis, and they see their roles are completely different. And then when they decide to change that role and enroll as a consultant, then that's also very clear. And now they're a 1099, and that's their role becomes that. And then they're not a customer any longer; they're a consultant. And then they'll roll back out, and the customer rolls up, and that customer stays in that genealogy, and they have a very healthy relationship through that. When we help manage that in that partnership, where they stay. So even an upline, if somebody leaves, their customers are just kind of rolling right up underneath so they can hold on to that. So it's just a good partnership. It's just smart. It takes a lot of technology to make that happen, but it's very, very smart.
Totally. I love that. That's now one of the other elements that I've seen companies kind of talking about and kind of shifted is customer acquisition. So I've seen some companies talk a lot about, going direct to the marketplace, using that as a lead generation, and then, having some way to feed that into the consultants. There's other companies that are doing even more drastic direct-to-consumer ways of kind of, again, customer acquisition methods. Do you guys do any direct-to-consumer, or are you really relying? You focus on the sales force and partner with them, and they're the ones who are acquiring customers. Like, do you guys think about anything direct-to-consumer, and how do you look at that?
I just really don't. I mean, I might spend more money on doing a consultant incentive that month to help them get that, or to give them the marketing tools to get more customers. We just invest in this whole vendor event party type to help them get new customers. We invested in a trainer to show them how to get new people on Facebook and how to build their customer base through training. So as far as direct to market, we've had a couple where we tried to, help, do it. I just always feel like, why is that money going there and not going to the Geordies? This is why we don't have brick and mortars. I had opportunities to franchise, to talk to big box stores early on. I had some of those opportunities, and it was like, why were we not investing in people? They're just the best ROI. So I don't generally, every once in a while we would put maybe an ad up to get some exposure in some place, but we don't have any kind of customer acquisition program. I know a lot of companies spend a lot of big money on it. I tend to do an incentive trip or do more incentive type for the consultants and training to help them get their customers.
So that's a good point, though. I mean, a lot of your incentives, a lot of your training is around customer acquisition, right? So I mean, you're focusing on incentivizing that heavily throughout. And is that a new thing that you focus on, or has that been really since the beginning? That's been kind of part of your core culture since it starts.
Yeah, it's always been a part of that. Or I would travel and go and have them bring customers, and I would do a program for customers and future consultants. When we did training for our last catalog, they'd bring their customers and we'd talk to them. And but they do the majority of the building of the customer base. And then we take that email and the newsletter and we help bring that out to them. We do have a little pop-up on our website for the newsletter. It's been to help capture. Usually they have a consultant and then they just kind of route back around inside the website for that. It's just a great way for them they were putting their vendor events in there, but now we have our vendor type so they can put them right inside the back office now. It was just a little way for them to use it as a tool.
That's really cool. Like, so now one of the other things that you guys introduced was the Joyful Jordan box and subscription boxes, and kind of what's been your experience there? Because I've seen a lot of companies really like adopting box of the month clubs, things like that. When did you launch it? What is the reasoning behind it? Like, and what's been the results you've seen with that? And has that been a successful program?
We've been massively successful with ours. I know, and I've shared it with other companies, and sometimes theirs doesn't quite take off like ours, but ours has been so good. How long have I had that? 8-10 years, maybe. Wow. Or maybe I got to be maybe closer to 10 years now. We were subscription box before they were cool. So they had kind of first come out, and then so we put a box together that they can use as a one-off or as a subscription. This is huge for us for customer satisfaction, but also it's pretty much it's the only thing we have that has free shipping. So if you get this box every month and you get on subscription, you can get it for free. You can also change the address and have it rerouted as a gift to somebody. Marion does that all the time. Rerouted to somebody else. You can cancel it anytime on the customer side. So we give them the power. I don't need to hold on to that. But it's $29 for $40 value with free shipping. So we build in a boatload of value. They get to try all these great products, full size, not samples of products. And with our product line and our consultants, it's our number one best-selling product every single month is that box. The consultants immediately sign up and get on a subscription. So they are going to be getting new products every single month. They're fun. They're interesting. This month is a lemonade box. It's a raspberry lemonade, body polish spray, and a lemonade lip balm. So we've definitely perfected it, and it gets a little card inside of it. But it was a program that we were, 8 years ago was pretty manual. Now it's something that's so easy. They can sign up. They manage everything online. But the consultants sign up, people sign up. It's a really big deal for us.
Now, do you do different themes? Like you mentioned, like a lemon, so is each month a different theme and kind of different cards and stuff based on those themes?
Yeah, like we do a bug box in May. It blows it out of the water. We do a non-toxic, essential oil based that really works, insect repellent box, and people wait for this box. And they can also, we made the box an incentive inside of our consultant program when they have a certain amount in sales by a certain date. So it's a secret, I'm not telling. They could get that box, the next month's box, free and early. And so we literally allow them to preview it because it's a secret. They get the box. And so when it launches, they've got the head start so they can go live on social and they have it ahead of time. It's a big cornerstone for our culture.
That's really cool. Like now when you mentioned like going live on social, like what is their mechanism, right? So I've seen a lot of in our industry, right? You have a lot of providers and even outside of the industry, they do live video solutions and things like that. But I've seen a lot of companies just Facebook lives and that, like, how do you look at that? And do your consultants really leverage just Facebook Live, Zooms? Is that really where most of the promotional happens, or what do they typically use, and what's their kind of tactical approach to going live and leveraging that?
I've thought about all kinds of shit. You just cannot beat Facebook that's where people are at. And so having Facebook, going live on Facebook, VIP groups on Facebook, our consultant communities on Facebook. Now, our back office, when they log in, we call that the splash page. And so we've splashed the information. We put our monthly videos on there so they know to get the information. But if we're going to have community or have lives or trainings, we still utilize our email system, which is fantastic. We're texting. I think texting is such a great way. You can text out a small video, text out information. I think getting people who are fatigued on social, it's a great place to go. But you meet them there. I mean, we're not even like dipping into TikTok yet. We do some Instagram. But the unboxing and everything else, a lot of it just still happens there. And Zoom has been just a lifesaver. We love Zoom. We are working heavily with our leadership through Zoom. And I mean, how else do you connect people from Alaska to Florida and all over the place, but on camera together where we can all discuss how to make this business better and reach everybody across America. So it's been a good platform for us for sure.
That's awesome. Now, taking a step back and kind of looking at the industry more broadly, like you're a member of the board of directors of the DSA, and you get to see kind of the broader landscape. What do you see are kind of some themes that are evolving, right? What should companies be looking at really, other people listening to this over the next 12, 18, 24 months? What should people be looking for? And what should people be focusing on? What's your thoughts?
I think that when things get a little bumpy, the economy, who knows what's going to happen coming up. And I think that's the who knows is the part is collaboration, kindness, work, leaning in instead of leaning out, working together with amazing people. I'm often surprised how many times I have asked somebody if they would have time for a call. Actually, I've never had anybody say no yet. A fellow CEO that runs a company that's like 500 times bigger than I am, offered to help with something. There's a very large MLM company, which is not a party plan company. And there was a marketing director from there who I asked if I could contact and had some ideas for me. And they did. And we've been using some of their ideas in some of our programs and incentives that kind of brought everything together. It was really cool. So I think that collaboration and when you're thinking about what's going to happen in this next couple of months, you'll see people who pull back, and you're going to see them in this next coming months have a harder time. And then also people who don't have this I know I use this word a lot, but who don't have the longevity mindset, this too shall pass. This is going to pass. And how are you going to work your way through it? So when something happens and people lose their minds, and they'll remember how you lost your mind after it's over. So, you think past that and think towards, what's working, how are we doing, what's happening today, what is the long game? What is the long game? How are you going to take it from here to there? I think that's how we've made it through. I remember 9/11, everything was shut down. We sponsored 4 people by 9/11, then nobody else for like the next 60 days. Nobody else. The whole country was in mourning. I remember getting, when the stock market crashed. I feel like it just like an old timer. So, I remember some of these things, but they passed. And, our world is in a season of very tectonic change, for lack of a better word, but it's doing some of this shifting. It's going to look a little different on the other side. But, having the long game, the brand of Jordan Essentials is about people and these great products. It's about love and connectivity and knowing people and being known and feeling valued while they're there. And so I think that if we can keep that in mind and that humanness, when people lose their humanness, I think that's when we all lose. And so I think as we go through this next year, find somebody you can help, ask for help when you need it, and have a lot of gratitude for whatever it is you actually do have today. And I think that's going to be how we all make it through the next couple of years. That's how we've made it through that's how we've made it through 23 years.
I love that. And that's great feedback. And I've seen the same thing. I mean, everybody's so willing to talk and help. And I think it's just asking, right? Having the courage to ask and ask to help. I love that answer, right? I love the longevity. I think that's great. We have a couple minutes left. Any parting thoughts? Anything else to kind of share that we haven't covered, or any tidbits of wisdom that people should focus on over the next year or two that we haven't talked about yet?
Yeah, especially when it comes to our industry, I think it still has such a negative stigma to it. When you're talking about direct sales and how people sell products, I don't know if you're watching this and you are an executive in direct sales, or you don't do direct sales at all, or you're just curious. This industry changes people's lives fundamentally, where I've had a great story. I had a gal in Indiana, and she was so shy and so introverted. Her cheeks would get really bright red. And she had bloomed so much with us. And her dad was a traveling salesman. He came to my office. He said, "I want to thank you for my daughter. She's become so bold and so brave and found her voice. And she became a children's author of hero books, and she could speak more and, had bloomed into who she was." So it isn't always about monetary. Embrace the industry. I'm a big fan of the industry. I'm a big customer. Just got my order from Tastefully Simple. I've got, my friends in the industry, I've got my Traits of Hope bag, got my 31, got my Pampered Chef. I mean, I'm always, wanting to support the industry because I know the story behind it too, instead of going to the big box store, and there's nothing wrong with, where you need to go shopping at, but I love to do things that have a purpose, that drive something. And this industry makes the best products, kind of has to, because somebody's out there saying they're awesome. But what it does for people behind the scenes, if you've never sold for the companies or been a part of direct sales, don't knock it till you try it, but also to give a little bit, and there's always going to be some bad actors, somewhere, somehow, just like there are some good doctors and some bad doctors. There's some good realtors and some bad, some good car salespeople, some bad in our industry. By and large, I so underestimated the cool people I would meet, so underestimated the experiences that I would have, because I was never going to be a part of one of those companies, let alone own one. And then here we are 23 years later, just so amazed at how this industry produces such great giving people behind this product. So that would probably be my thing, is if you're watching this, you've never been a part of the industry, or if you are, be very proud of it. It's really something that very few places that you go to work can do what this industry does. So that's why I'm a big fan. That's why I finally said, yes, I'll be on the board of the DSA. I want to be a part of the change and support all that we're going to do over the next couple of years, because we are world changers.
That's awesome. I love your comments, and I love the conversation. So no, thank you for your time today, Nancy. I think that's a great way to end it. And again, appreciate all your support and great conversation. So thank you all, and thank you all for watching.
Thank you.